Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the podcast episode. My name is Alicia Gogan, the host of the Glow Up Secrets podcast, where I help you expand your mind and become more self-aware so that you can glow up into the best version of yourself. Hello, and happy Sunday if you're listening to this on a Sunday. If anyone is new to the podcast, just know my episodes go live Sunday mornings. I feel like Sunday is such a good day to listen to a podcast. Now, for regular viewers, you might notice I'm a little bit more tan. Well, at least I hope I look more tan, because who wouldn't love a good tan? I love a good tan. I just got back from Miami with my boyfriend. It was such a well-needed break. I will give you a Miami recap if you are interested. At the end, we'll do some off-topic updates, life updates. We'll just chat, okay? But I did want to talk about some of the things that I'm going to be focusing on now that I am back. I live in Toronto, Canada, and it's going to be winter for a long time, girl. And I feel during the winter, it requires us to move and think and just be a different way on a mental level, on a physical level, on a spiritual level, all of these things. And I just want to talk about some of the things that I'm going to be leaning into and working on when it comes to prepping my soul essentially for winter. Not just, oh, you need to do this habit or eat this way or romanticize your life for winter to get through it and the depression talk and things like that. But I feel like with winter, but with any season, you are always going to be called to move in a different way. And one of the best things that you can do to allow yourself to move with the season of life and transition and change and evolve is understanding your own rhythms so that you can actually navigate life. We all have unique paths, and the way in which we get to the things that we are here to evolve and grow from is understanding what we uniquely need in every single season of life to get there. And not even just to get somewhere, but to live life. I feel like I have really been on a journey of trying to figure out, hey, how do I stop living so much in fight or flight and always feeling like I have to get somewhere and do something or be somebody, and instead learn how to be in the present and live life. Because not only is that the only thing that we really have is the present moment, but it's healthy to live in the present moment. It is not healthy spiritually, mentally, but also physically when we are constantly operating out of fight or flight. And I feel like a lot of us really struggle with seasonal change when really it's a natural part of life. Like, change is a natural part of life. And I think that's seriously the first thing that has helped me be able to prepare for the winter and to enjoy it or just be with it, is to understand that whatever changes I'm feeling, whether it's because of the weather or just, certain cycles or habits or things that I'm trying to change, all these things are very normal. And I do feel a lot of us feel the impacts of change a lot more in the winter time, but changing the way you view and experience winter, I do think will help you do what you're supposed to do. You're not supposed to live life every single year like resisting the winter or even just resisting change constantly. You're human. You're actually meant to change and evolve. Now, one way I have been really leaning into this season and even like my rhythm is supporting myself through my luteal phase. And this is only going to be a relevant topic really for women who are not on hormonal birth control and are into more of that cycle syncing stuff. But I do think this could still apply to people just trying to understand the typical cycles or phases that you go through, whether it's a month to month or week to week basis. Even if you are not like cycle syncing, you're off birth control and like your hormones might really fluctuate, we all fluctuate. Life happens, our moods change, Mother Nature really affects us, people affect us, all of these things affect us. So trying to understand your rhythms and your states in a way that's really supportive can really help you in all areas of your life, especially when you're going through something like a seasonal change and things like that and you want to feel better. You are going to feel better about yourself and your life if you stop resisting what is currently happening in your life and instead get curious and support yourself. So, like I mentioned, my luteal phase, and for anyone who is new to cycle syncing, we basically go through 4 phases every single month as women if we are on no form of birth control and we have like a regular period. Even if you're not on birth control, you might have a very irregular period. It's not to say that you wouldn't go through these phases, but they might be hard to kind of feel because maybe your cycle is up and down. I have a lot of videos on cycle syncing that I can leave, but I can also talk about it more, but I feel like it's quite easy to just look up like what cycle syncing is. But we have 4 phases. The first one is your menstrual phase. That is when you're bleeding. Then you have your follicular phase. Sometimes people will put the two together, but I just separate them. Most people do actually separate them. And then you have your ovulation phase. This is also the only time you can actually get pregnant as a woman, is around your ovulation time. It's really hard to be super accurate with your ovulation unless you have a really predictable period. But even if you do have one, it could be a few days before and even a few days after. Anyways, I'm not going to go into that rant about it right now, but your ovulation phase, and then you go into your luteal phase. And your luteal phase usually, and again, everyone is different, but usually it lasts 2 weeks, like 14-ish days. And that is where everyone talks about the PMS and people who struggle with PMDD. I always say like I struggle with like mild forms of it. That alongside undiagnosed but definitely known ADHD and other things that I've struggled with in my life, that time can be very hard and difficult for a lot of women. And in this season of my life, I'm really trying to get to know myself in my luteal phase more than I ever have before. I've been cycle syncing for a very long time, and I know, like, I have a very good sense of when I've actually hit in the luteal phase. Like, I track my period on my Ultra Human ring, actually. Like, that's how I track, but I've always tracked it even on different apps and stuff like that. And so I can tell based off of my mood and my energy when I hit my luteal phase. And sometimes I'll try and support myself. Other times it's just difficult. And it also depends on the season. Sometimes it depends on how my life has been the previous month before and, you know, where my mental state is at and what's going on in my life. But I've been really trying to support myself and understand what I'm reaching for, what I need, what I don't need, and what doesn't serve me around that time, because that time is very crucial for me. And if I really resist it and I don't lean into it or even shame myself for not being how I usually am during that time, it just makes everything worse. And it feels like my luteal phase is like a whole separate world that I'm living in for like a month. It almost feels like when I'm doing that thing of like resisting and not moving in that energy in a way and getting to know myself more. So that's something that I'm working on. And again, you can apply that to other aspects of your life, whether that's on a certain day of the week. Maybe it's Sundays, you really dread like Mondays in your weeks and stuff, and it seems to be a consistent cycle. Or maybe you're somebody who emotionally eats on the weekends or wants to isolate or even smoke a lot. I think it's really important for you to kind of make some correlations and spend some time not doing this thing where you're constantly just telling yourself you can't be doing it, but then you keep doing it over and over again, because of course you're doing it over and over again because that is serving you in a way and it's a thing that you're doing. And I've always learned when it comes to anything that's like quote unquote self-sabotaging to not resist it and not keep putting rules on it, because you're going to do the thing no matter how many times you tell yourself that it's bad and that you shouldn't be doing it, if that thing serves you. So it's, in my opinion, more important to get curious about why I am doing a certain habit or behavior and how could I be benefiting from it. And not even that I have to fully stop that thing, but how can I maybe be more intentional with my habits, or am I being too rigid? Whatever the case is, I think it's always so important to do that. And I know it can be hard because we are brought up in a society where if we do like one thing that is not perfect and super healthy and, you know, what you see everyone else doing online, it's like you're being a failure and you shouldn't be doing those things. And I just don't like living life like that, and I'm really trying to not live life like that. And for me, I have found certain things with my creativity, which makes sense because my creativity is connected to my energy as well. Seeing how my creativity and even my output on work kind of changes during that phase, and working with that instead of resisting it, not pushing myself to push out all of these things that I've had in mind for myself when I'm creatively not there, or I am just mentally not there, while also trusting in myself that I am going to get back to that creative energy again if I allow myself to go through a certain wave. It always happens. And that's really how life is. Creativity aside, you always need this dance with rest and pushing yourself and having this outward energy. There's always a sense of inward. And I think it's up to each individual to understand how much you might need and what that looks like and when that looks like. Again, everyone is so different. Another thing for me is evaluating my relationship that I have to gardening. And anyone who is confused, gardening just means cannabis. Now, I've had a few episodes where I've talked about my relationship with gardening. I'm not somebody who consistently does it all the time, but I do find myself sometimes in phases, and then sometimes I find the phase gets to this habit that I don't really know why I'm even doing it, so then I try and work on pulling back from it. And this year I'm just really trying to understand that relationship more, because I could tell myself to not garden, which I don't think you even need to tell yourself that it's bad to garden or that you should not, or it's like the wrong thing to do. Like, some people it works for them, some people it doesn't, some people here and there. And I feel like for me, here and there, but I always find sometimes I will make things more of a problem than they need to be. Just because I have certain habits or different urgencies doesn't mean that they're technically wrong or bad. It just means I have to understand where those are coming from. And if the habit that I am indulging in doesn't serve me, I need to look deeper into that. But I also need to look into the part of me that is a very big perfectionist, that wants to do everything all or nothing and doesn't like when I am fluctuating through things, whether it's habits, whether it's gardening or not gardening, whether it's going to the gym super regularly or not. I am trying to understand when I need to pull back and when it's okay to like embrace that season and embrace that thing, and also seeing how some of these things also can help me in ways. And for instance, with gardening, there are so many beautiful things that come out of it, at least for me, when I'm being much more intentional, whether it is just the thing that sometimes does help my mood when I feel like I can't really change my mood. And again, I have to make sure that I'm not leaning on something that will help boost my mood. I definitely am very aware of that relationship that I have, because I never want to be dependent on anything. But it's also okay sometimes to depend on something if it's really not hurting you. And for me, I get very creative. I will spend time slowing down. It can be very enjoyable for me, and I feel like I just don't want to shame myself for enjoying that. I think as much as we can to do things responsibly and to do them in a way that's tasteful. And when I mean tasteful, I just mean tasteful for ourselves, like trying to really examine that relationship that we have with something. Like, that is what I am trying to work on when it comes to understanding my rhythms, especially in the wintertime. And winter really does call for that introspection, that creativity even, but also slowing things down. So those are some of the things that I'm getting curious about and leaning on and allowing myself to do and be, to help me be in that energy, because that is what my external is calling to me. Another thing that has allowed me to feel like I'm easing into winter is to really tune in and move with nature's rhythm, whether that's adjusting our morning or night routines to nature, or, which is so important because I think that we end up building more resiliency and capacity to do more in life and to really embrace winter, but that is to spend time outside. I know it can be cold in some areas, a lot of areas, but really just capitalizing on whatever you can day to day. And that's really what I've been doing. Some days are much colder than others. And even when they're really cold, I will push myself. I will do something, even if it's like a 10-minute walk outside. Even with Theo, I just like put the right jackets on him and stuff, which, oh my gosh, he has so many cute jackets. You guys have to follow me on Instagram to see some of his stuff. It's so cute. But sometimes I genuinely can't even go outside for very long. But in my head, I'm just trying to tell myself, you can still go outside though, right? Because like if it's cold, especially when I have Theo, in my head, I'm thinking, oh, like it's probably too cold. Like it's actually not. If I put his sweater on, I just don't go out for very long. Or even if it's just me, myself, it doesn't have to be the longest walk, but it is important to go out. And every time I just feel better. You really do feel better when you go outside. Even if you're cold, it wakes you up, it gets you going. And I feel like in the wintertime, you can be very isolated and you need to feel the fresh air on your skin. You need to breathe it in. Even if you just like go on your balcony, sometimes throughout the day, I will light an incense and I will just go on the balcony and just stand there and just breathe in the crisp air because it's just good. It's cold, but the more times I do that, the more I feel like I can be somebody, and I am somebody who takes on winter, and I've always wanted to be that person. I don't want to be a fragile person when it comes to the seasons. Like, oh, I hate it. It's so cold and there's nothing to do and it's so boring and it's so depressing and this, that, and maybe fragile is the wrong word. I don't want anyone to take offense to that because I've experienced winter all of my life basically like that. But I just mean for myself, like I want to feel like I'm strong enough to go through this season. And this is not to mean that I will not have my days. And that's totally fine to have your days. I think naturally winter's going to come with those days. Just lean into it. But I think it is really good to be somebody who can get outside and put on a jacket and, you know, embrace whatever you have. And something else I've been doing is really spending time with the sunsets. And if I can, obviously the sunrises. Now, sunsets and sunrises are kind of far few in between sometimes in the wintertime. But when you get them, I really try to wind down and like move with the sunset. When the sun is setting, I feel like, okay, like thinking about what I'm going to make for dinner and maybe putting on some incense, going on the last walk with Theo around my neighborhood before it gets super dark and I can't really like be walking in the bushes and stuff. Those are all things to me that make me feel really good, which also kind of leads me into next thing, which is making a very cozy and safe environment, and whether that is your actual physical environment around you, which I think is very important, but also just the people that you're surrounding yourself with and who you're talking to is very important, and something that I am making sure that I am creating the time and space for. Like I am really trying to allow myself to spend some time cooking more and taking a longer shower and getting the cozy vibes right by putting on a bunch of candles and cleaning my space and just making small things in my environment more cozy and more this season. Now, making my environment cozy and slow and just exactly what this season really is, I've really had to reevaluate my relationship towards urgency and worry and stress. And I talked about this in last week's episode, like slowing things down and letting yourself be happy and be more joyful and how it's really just a practice. But I think that this winter season is a great time to lean into slowing things down and taking your time with things, which is the opposite of urgency and rushing and fight or flight energy. So I'm always trying to do my best to stop myself when I find myself rushing or getting irritated by being like, girl, like, why are we rushing here? Let's think about this for a second. Where are we trying to go? But also everything can still be good and happy and peaceful, even if things aren't 100%. For instance, I've had so much change happen in the last month and a half. I mean, this entire year has been so crazy for me, like genuinely. But I would say this past month with the move, and then I had my birthday celebrations in Miami, which are all great things. Actually, all of them are great things. But I really had to reevaluate my relationship to control and urgency because I felt like stressed the entire time. Well, not the entire time. Miami was fun. My birthday was fun. But I really took the energy of this season and tried to apply it to the things that I was rushing in my life by reminding myself, like, There's always going to be something else to do. It is okay to go slow. These things are going to get done in due time. Let's be happy even as the things are changing, because there's always going to be another thing. And that's what I had been trying to work myself through this past month and a half, is that there's always going to be another thing to do, Alicia. When you're moving, you got to pack, reorganize, and then unpack, reorganize. And there's going to be stuff you have to do for work, and there's going to be another thing you have to do. Like, there's always going to be things that you have to do. So if that's the case, then we might as well be happy as we're doing these things, we might as well grow. And that's also another thing, is pushing myself out of comfort zones, which I think I did talk about that in last week's episode as well. This is a great time for you to start pushing yourself out of comfort zones in preparation for the new year, because if you are going to be somebody who wants to change yourself and glow up and have this new identity for the new year, you're going to have to act and move in a different way than you ever have before. And the way that you do that is you push yourself out of your comfort zone, because that's what you're doing right now, is you're living in your comfort zone. And that is why you're not that dream version of yourself yet. So seeing the ways that you keep yourself stuck every single day, making life harder, more difficult when it doesn't need to be, or you're just scared to do things, say things, try this new thing, whatever it is, you got to take baby steps towards that thing, because that will be how you change your state and how you feel a little bit better and more expansive in your life. And I promise you, you're going to have a fuller life. And I really think about this in the summertime. Like, I want to have a good summer, even like solo. And I don't mean that in the sense of like not being in a relationship, but I just mean the days that I spend with myself. Like, I want to be even more confident with myself to go wherever it is that I want to go on whatever day at whatever time, and to do cool new creative things, or I don't know, whatever it is. But sometimes we'll have blocks of feeling like, oh, I have anxiety going to this place or a new environment, or making new friends, or doing whatever it is that you keep saying that you want to do, but you keep waiting for somebody else because you're too afraid. But sometimes life just requires you to just do it yourself. And I think it's important that I work on that. And that's why I'm sharing it with you guys, because I think that that's a great thing to work on during this winter. So anyways, that's what I am doing for my soul, essentially, because that's what my soul calls for, is embracing change, moving with it, growing with it, but also seeing how can I make the best of what I have right now. Like, that really is so important. And it is a practice for most of us. It doesn't matter what we've gone through or what we've been handed or where we're at in our season of life. If you ask anyone, there's always something that they are working on. There's always something that they're trying to enjoy more or be better at, or maybe even shame themselves for, or like work through, whatever it is. And I think what a beautiful time to work on those things. So yeah, I feel like I'm in my era of embracing the winter. It is here. It is happening. I am ready to take it on. And I said this again in last week's episode, I believe, or the one before that. I talked about being an active participant in life, and I'm very committed to being an active participant in life, even if my habits don't always reflect that, because I'm human and I'm going to stay small in certain areas. Okay, sorry, my mic unplugged, so I kind of forget what I was saying, but active participant of life, that is the era that I am in. And I feel like I am easing into some stuff. I think I'll probably vlog of easing back into routine. So I'm sure I'm going to have more chats on the vlog channel. If you are not already subscribed, it's just my name, Alicia Gogan. I'll have it in the description. But I am taking my time with easing back into things, and it feels good. It feels good to not rush too many things. It doesn't feel like there's any sort of weight or heaviness on me that I have to like get things done. Not to say that I don't sometimes think like that, but I'm very in the practice of reminding myself, like, relax, girl, relax. You just came from Miami. Just keep that energy of just relaxation. Guys, Miami was so great. I wish I was able to stay a little longer, obviously, because the sun was out and it was warm, and I am tan, which I am super happy about. We went to the beach we were technically there for like almost 4 days, but we landed around 3-ish. So we didn't go to the beach that day, but then the next 3 mornings and days we went to the beach. It was so nice. We did so many morning walks and got some coffee at different coffee shops. I did put a highlight on my Instagram of some of the places that we went to. I feel like I probably missed a place, but guys, if you are in Miami, I do believe this restaurant is in other places. I think one in New York. I don't know the other places, but you can also Google it. It's called Casa Tua. It is so good. Everything about that place was stunning. It's an Italian food restaurant and it's like in this old remodeled like home, but it's very cute and it's like kind of hidden away. It's not like too big. It's not like Versace Mansion vibes. Versace Mansion is very, obviously it's very trendy and like everyone goes there and stuff, like tourists and stuff, but it is very big and a little like mansion vibey. This is more tucked away, like Italian home type of vibe. It's so good. It is so stunning. It is so romantic. And the food was, oh my gosh, the food was so good. We had this avocado salad, and I know that's not actually the name, but it was so good that I need to learn how to remake that. The pasta was so good. We actually didn't get dessert because we were really full. We also went to this place called Medium Cool Bar, I believe that's what it's called, and we got some drinks. It almost gave like a speakeasy because we had to like go downstairs and it gave speakeasy, but it was so cool. They had some jazz music playing. We just got a few drinks before we went to the restaurant, and it was literally across the road from each other, so it was perfect. We got some tacos. We got these acai bowls. We did a little bit of shopping. I went to this really cool candy spot. We went to this pizza spot. Yeah, it was just a really good time, and I definitely need to go back. Like, I feel like if I could do a trip to somewhere really like sunny and warm. Honestly, I've gone to Miami. This is now the 4th time, and I don't even travel that much. Like, I've never been to Europe. I've only really been to Miami. I have been to Nashville. There's somewhere else. Oh, and then in Mexico, I've been once. I haven't really traveled that much. I haven't been to LA, but I feel like Miami it doesn't feel like home because home is definitely different than Miami, but it just fits my vibe, essentially. Just the whole being able to wake up and the sun is there and you just go to the beach, you get some good coffee, you get some good food. Like, I don't need much. I just need like a warm environment and it to feel a little bit tropical and vibey, and I'm good. I'm definitely not interested in the Miami nightlife. Nothing like that. I was going to say my fair share. I have not, but I have been to Miami where that trip was very much so like going out. It was actually for my cousin's 30th birthday, and we did Rosa Sky Bar in Brickell, which is such a great rooftop bar. I actually did want to go there for this trip, but it was in Brickell and we had no other restaurants that we really wanted to try out there. So I wasn't really going to waste a night just going over to Rosa just to get a drink and then to come back. But it is a great place to go. But when I went with my cousins, we ended up doing, it wasn't like a bar hop or a bar crawl, but it was like something where then we ended up going to Live nightclub. I believe it was Live or 11. Or is that the same thing? I don't know. Anyways, one of those like clubs that everyone talks about. And honestly, you only live once. So you kind of have to experience it at some point. There was other things that we did, like, you know, the day drinking at the like cabanas and stuff like that. But that was not this trip with my boyfriend and I. We just can't even keep up. Like, honestly, that's really what it is. If I have like 2 drinks, I'm for sure hungover the next day. I'm okay. I'm not like throwing up or feeling like super, super bad, but I definitely just don't feel the most energized. So sometimes I'll have a drink and it's usually like espresso martini if we're like having a dinner and this, that. Like it was so fine to have a couple drinks that night, but I typically would rather just not, because I feel like I'm going to ruin the next day, especially on vacation. If I only have a few days, I don't want to spend every single one of those mornings feeling hungover or feeling very sleep deprived. And for me, it takes nothing for me to feel like crap. So I definitely made sure to get as much sleep that I could, and I felt good as well. So I really want to go back. I definitely will. And it was a great time. Thanks for all the love on Instagram, for the pictures that I posted and stuff. We took some pretty good ones. My boyfriend got me a good photo at Casa Tua, and you know, that's all that matters. I'm kidding. That does not matter all the time, but it is nice to get a nice photo at dinner. Also, something that I've been doing when it comes to leaning in to this season and, taking my time, getting back into the routine. I've also moved. Like, for anyone who is very, very new, I just recently moved into my boyfriend's place. So I'm just like, I just put stuff in the closet, and for the most part, everything is where it needs to be. So I feel like I mentally and physically now can get more into a routine. So I'm slowly inching myself back into like my sleep routine and all the patterns and things that I do, and having my clothes where they need to be. I went to the grocery store and I drove his car. If you guys remember that episode where I was like telling myself I need to wait for my boyfriend to drive his car, like with him a few times because I haven't driven in a while and this, that. And then the opportunity arose, and it was kind of like, I can leave my car for you or not. And I'm like, girl, just do it. Like, you know how to drive. You're a good driver. It's just like a new car, and it's going to be okay. And it was okay. I was a little bit anxiety ridden, which it's just so funny because it's like, girl, you know how to drive, but it feels a little foreign sometimes. Anyway, we did it. I went to Farm Boy. Now, I had a Farm Boy at my old condo, very close, but there was something about driving to a grocery store again that just like made me feel like, oh, my independence, and anything like I wanted, I got because I got the car and I don't need to walk. That's another thing, that I completely just forgot about for so many years. And that's fine because life, ebbs and flows. When I was living right in the city, I'm still living very close to the city, by the way, guys. It's just not right in the core. But when I lived there, I didn't have a car. Like, I wasn't going to drive around. So it didn't make any sense. Everything was like walking distance. And thankfully, I lived very, very close to two grocery stores, Loblaws and a Farm Boy. And so I would obviously get all of my groceries there. But there was still a component of walking, so I would only pick up so many things at a time, and if I picked up a lot of things, like, I would just be lugging shit home, which I honestly did that most of the time. Like, I'm gonna need to get what I need to get, but there is something nice about just getting a cart and bringing the cart to your car and just loading up the groceries and stuff. But also the reason why I really liked it is because I've been relying on a different grocery store that's like really convenient for where we live now, and I hate it. I absolutely hate it. I wouldn't say I'm the biggest grocery store snob, but I do love a grocery store. I love a good one. I love a healthy one. I love one that gives a certain vibe, one that's clean, that is, I love what I love. And I love a lot of them. And a Farm Boy, it'll do. I do like Whole Foods more than Farm Boy, but there's not one that's very close, but I do like the vibe that Farm Boy gives me. And considering the other ones that are around me, that one is the best one. And so it felt nice going there because there wasn't a way for me to go there unless my boyfriend was driving me or if I was driving his car. And I typically didn't do that when I wasn't living here and just coming here and there. We would just pick up stuff from all the other grocery stores that were, in my opinion, not as good. Anyway, that is my rant for the grocery stores. I am very happy, and it makes me feel a little bit more into my routine. So that's a thing that I am loving. Another thing that I've been really loving to do, and this kind of leads back into the topic of this episode, and that is giving myself time to have an everything shower and like not rushing the process. And this is what I did today, like right before this podcast episode. Like, I knew I had to record this episode, but I felt myself being like, hey, you gotta get your hair done, put some makeup on. Honestly, guys, I didn't even put my foundation on because I am so tan that I like out tanned my foundation, which is crazy. Like, I actually really got lots of color. Anyways, I was like kind of rushing the process of getting ready, and I'm like, girl, like, we don't have to do that. We are learning to live a softer life, and this is the thing. You gotta like stop yourself because you will always just be on autopilot. Anyway, I said, you know what? Okay, let me put on my music. And I started playing some bangers. Okay, I actually do think I just need to make a new playlist called my like shower playlist or something. This is not only what I'm listening to in the shower, but these songs right now are hitting, and I typically end up listening to them when I am about to go into the shower or just getting ready. Like, let's bring back playing music while we're getting ready. I used to do that all the time, whether it was I was getting ready to go out with my friends, and maybe that's the reason why I stopped that habit, but I used to love listening to music and getting ready. Like, there's nothing better. So anyways, I'm looking at my phone because I'm going to read some songs that I've been loving, and like, girls, like, you either are with it or you're not. And so the first song is Sorrows by Bryson Tiller, and quite literally everything from Bryson Tiller. And honestly, guys, I am so in my Bryson Tiller era again. Guys, he is just hitting something for me right now. And Bryson Tiller is objectively always good. I feel like most people who listen to him, or if you like bring up a Bryson Tiller song, everyone's like, yeah, that song is so good. Like Don't is a really good one, but Sorrows, for me, there's something about it. Like there's something that hits me deep in my core when I listen to that song, especially recently. There's another song that I've been liking, Years Go By. Right My Wrongs is another good one. Like so many good bangers. So anyways, you listen to that in the shower or when you're getting ready, you're just going to start feeling yourself. Like you are going to have a good everything shower. Another good one that I actually never really listened to on this album is called Get Along Better by Drake and Ty Dolla $ign from, I don't know what the album was called, but it's the one with the emojis where the girl's pregnant like 100 different times on that one. And guys, Spotify just starts playing me bangers after bangers just based on what I was listening to. So sometimes I'm just fed a song that I haven't heard in forever. And I'm like, oh my God, this hit. Sometimes you have to take a break from songs and then you come back and you're like, what? This song was so fire. Another song is from A Boogie with a Hoodie called Skeezers. This is from like one of his older albums. I never listened to that, but when I was listening to it today, I was like, wait, this song's really good. Another song that I kind of hate to admit that I like listening to is WGFT by Gunna. I'm genuinely not a fan of the lyrics, and I'm not really a fan of the fact that like that's kind of what the music is these days, like the new generation of rap. Sometimes like there's these songs that are just like, really, like you couldn't like find anything better to say. But I will say sometimes, listen, I'm human, okay? I am human, and I was raised listening to not the best music, and so there's a little bit of hood girl in me, okay? I always say this. I have a playlist on my Spotify called Hood Girl, and it's just a bunch of Central C and a bunch of stuff that gives more hood. And you know what? I sometimes just like to honor that part of me instead of just shame myself for liking that music sometimes. I don't listen to it all the time, and do I think that sometimes that can prime your subconscious mind to think differently about the world and, you know, violence and the way that sometimes these men will be speaking about women or life and things like that? Absolutely. And I don't think it's good, but I just try and separate myself as much as I can. Like, listen, this is just music sometimes, and it is what it is. So yeah, that's what I've been focusing on in life right now. I'm sure there's other things that I either forgot or will be yapping forever about. I'm working on my journal series that will be coming out soon. We got the holidays coming up. I definitely want to start preparing my grief episode. That will be coming out in December. There's so many things that I've learned about grief, and I don't talk about it all the time on my podcast episode because I'm very much still experiencing it, going through it, and I also don't feel the need to speak on it all the time. But I do think I have some things that I can share for others who are going through similar things, and on top of that, just like probably personally talk about some of the things that have helped me and everything like that. So I think that's going to be it for today's episode. If you guys enjoyed it, definitely let me know in the comment section. Let me know what you'd want to hear more about. Let me know how you like the off-topic sections potentially at the end of my episodes. I'm not being so intentional with it, but I'm kind of just like, if there's stuff to update you guys on or whatever, then I might as well chat at the end. If you watch on YouTube, just know that the podcast is available on all audio streaming platforms, and the same is true if you listen on audio. I do have this recorded as well on YouTube, and I mean, if we're watching on YouTube, we still got the listen, work in progress. And I'm chilling on it, honestly. Like, I'm excited to change up this vibe. I don't know what the vision is. The other thing is eventually we will be moving into a bigger place. Now, I don't want to wait for that. Of course, like the plan is to not wait for that. I want to make this space cute and whatever, but I also feel like I am trying to focus on what can work for right now, but like my bigger vision will probably come more to life when I have a second room, because like I am going to be having like a bigger room, not a den for the podcast, but whatever. I'll give you updates on that when it happens. Right now, it's winter, and this is where we are at. I'm just looking at the calendar right now, and tomorrow, if you're listening to this on Sunday, will be December 1st, Monday. Wow, we are technically actually in December. That's crazy. We have 1 month left. This has been a ride, but I'm glad you guys are here with me, and that is all. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.